Was legendary Rat drummer Bobby Blotzer about to be hired by legendary rock band Guns N' Roses to hit the skins for the GNR guys? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Sight Sounds Flavors on YouTube, sightsoundsflavors.com. You guys know that Guns has had a couple of long-standing sort of fill-in replacements. Richard Fortus replacing the late, well, not late, he's not dead, but replacing the great Izzy Stradlin. And Izzy is the reason that in the late 80s, Guns N' Roses started pulling women under 200 pounds. And then, of course, Frank Ferrer, who's filling in for the legendary Steven Adler, who also has another fill-in named Matt Sorum. But we don't talk about Matt because he's a fill-in replacement touring drummer. But the reality of the matter is that Frank left, quit, got kicked out. You know, you'll never know, because that camp is all about kind of containing, you know. We don't even know what happened with Izzy. You know, we don't know like what arrangement he's got with Duff and Slash. I bet you they're just employees. But there was a rumor that they were all taking a Roman bath together. And then they all went into the steam room and they were kind of having a heart-to-heart with Frank. And they were all naked because that's what you do in those baths. And so anyways, it got to the point where I think they were going to give Frank his walking papers, or Frank was going to, you know, give his retirement to go do a drum CD. So they all stood up, first Axl and then everybody else. Dizzy Reed, you know, he's been in the band second only to Axl in terms of years. Legendary keyboard player Dizzy Reed. The women go nuts for him in Bulgaria. He got up and they all got up, and the last to get up was Frank. And Frank then got up, and I don't know, like if he said he was leaving the band, if they said, look, you know, thanks for drumming all these years, but you know, our paths are about to separate. Good luck to you. Buona fortuna. I don't know how it all went down, but I do know that after a couple of minutes, and I want to try to keep it classy. I mean, these are rumors that I've heard, you know, but after a couple of minutes, the door to the sauna opened and there was Bobby Blotzer, the Blots. And, you know, you could imagine the face of astonishment on Frank Ferrer's face. I mean, Frank has never been part of anything that he created. He's always been a fill-in drummer, you know, a hired hand. You know what I mean? And maybe he's had a band or something like the Frank Ferrer Experience or something. Maybe they play the local Howard Johnson. I don't know. Who cares, though? He's not Bobby Blotzer. Without Bobby's drumming, RATT would never have reached the pinnacles of multi-platinum stardom. Also, Bobby's version of RATT opened for Miranda Lambert. I mean, you know, if that's not Hollywood sleaze, excess is best, I don't know what is. So, you know, is it possible that Bobby's joining RATT? I mean, if not RATT, excuse me, forget that. Is it possible that Bobby Blotzer, you know, Tracy Guns also said that he'd be open to playing with Guns N' Roses, as if they wanted to work with him. You know, why would they want to work with him? I mean, yes, what's his name? Axl, he took his name, his last name, you know. And I think they played like some garage dates or whatever. Some local clubs. It wasn't even like it was with you know, like Juan Crucier and RATT, or Juan Crucier and Dawkins. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like Dave Mustaine with Megadeth. I mean, they didn't have a record deal even. It wasn't like, you know, they put out a record with him or something. I don't even know if they had a management deal. I mean, they may have possibly with Vicky, but I mean, I don't know if they even had that, you know? I think like when he played with them, They were just like basically like a high school band or a garage band or something, you know. So, in any event, even Tracy Guns has tried to get his way back to GNR. Like, everybody wants to be part of this GNR thing because they're selling out major arenas and stadiums and they're headlining tours. You know, everybody wants to be on this thing. So the idea of Bobby Blotzer, you know, being behind the kit, you know, I mean, first of all, it would be insulting to compare, you know, Frank Ferrer to Bobby Blotzer. Bobby Blotzer is on another level. And a lot of the people that have mentioned this kind of like interaction that the GNR guys had with Bobby is that when Bobby walked in, I mean, you know, there's people that are growers and not showers, and then there's people that are showers, you know. And they say that when he walked in, a couple of the GNR guys, they were like freaking out because they thought that like some sort of a like 6 foot tall octopus was walking into the room, and you know, because, and they said, well, why an octopus? And they said that guy's got 3 legs, you know what I mean? But that's not a leg per se. Bobby was a larger man than everyone in that sauna, and you know, it's just, I think between the fact that he is a world-class drummer, a drummer extraordinaire, a rock god, and the fact that he's hung like a rhinoceros, when he walked in there, everybody from, you know, Bobby on one hand all the way down to Axl on the other were like, they couldn't believe that this rock god was amongst them. I mean, you got to figure, you know, 1986, 1987, when Guns were like really cutting their teeth, or way back to 85 when Tracy was playing with Axl in a garage, RATT was on top of the world. It was RATT and roll. They were headlining the Budokan, you know what I mean? They were larger than life. People would scream for RATT, you know what I mean? And Guns N' Roses at that time couldn't get arrested in a phone booth. So the thing about it is that, you know, there's a bit of a, you know, like, you know, those guys, like GNR, look, you know, Axl, you know, has got like the piano scene, and Slash has got the top hat, but none of these guys will ever know what it feels like to have fans just like worship the ground you walk on, like so many people do today about Bobby in their late 60s and 70s. And the thing is, to have a drummer on that level in a club band like Guns N' Roses would be huge, because it would just make them an even bigger draw as they headline these massive arenas and stadiums. I mean, could Bobby do that with his RATT? Absolutely. He opened up for Miranda Lambert. But the thing is, I think this is going to make Guns so much more successful. But they got to pay him right. You can't pay Bobby Blotzer, you know, the freaking servant wages that you were paying Frank Ferrer. First of all, the money's got to be right. He's got to have his own double bass drum on an elevated riser. He's got to have a microphone to sing background vocals, because if one thing Bobby can do, it's play the drums. And also, they need to include him in the songwriting process. I can't tell you how many songs Bobby wrote for RATT, and I can't tell you how many of their major hits he was responsible for. The point, though, being that a lot of people risked getting shot crossing the Berlin Wall because they wanted to make it to a RATT concert and see Bobby behind the drums. How many members of Guns N' Roses could say people did that about them? I think that is the question.